Republican lawmaker in North Carolina is under fire for saying questionable things on Facebook. Larry Pittman is a Republican representative from Concord, North Carolina. And basically, he was defending a bill that he filed on Tuesday that would essentially restore a ban on same-sex marriage in North Carolina. What are you doing, North Carolina? What's wrong with you? Wasn't losing the governorship and millions of dollars in business with the NCAA and the NBA and all the different companies that decided to pull out after you tried to ram this bathroom bill down everybody's throats? Wasn't that enough? Wasn't that enough? Wasn't that harmful enough to your state? Nope, apparently not. Now you got to keep throwing out that red meat to a very small minority of voters who just hate the gays. Now this new law is titled the Uphold Historical Marriage Act, which is ironic because what they consider to be historical marriage is not exactly historical at all. In fact, real historical marriage involved one man and many, 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 many wives and concubines. But, you know, they don't seem to remember that. Amazing. Now, this law argues that the Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriage exceeded the authority of the court relative to the decree of Almighty God, and that individual states should not be allowed, or I'm sorry, should be allowed to make their own marriage laws. So the federal government, no, not allowed to make marriage laws, but the states, yes, we should absolutely do so. That's what they say. Well, number one, the Almighty God, the Bible, does not supersede the Constitution. It does not. We are a secular nation, and we don't make laws based on religion, whether it be Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, doesn't matter. Okay? We don't make laws based on that. That is not something that we can legislate. We cannot legislate the Bible. If we did, we would be a lot like Saudi Arabia. We would have Christian Sharia law. I'm not in favor of that. Most Americans are not in favor of that. Most Americans believe in, hey, freedom of religion. You can be whatever religion you want. You can believe whatever you want, as long as you don't dictate it to other people. But we have a small minority of Americans who believe, no, my Bible should rule you. My religious texts should rule your life. Well, I don't want you to rule my life. I don't want your stupid book. You can keep it to yourself. You can believe it whatever the hell you want to believe. That there's an imaginary or a tiny teacup orbiting the earth. Or the flying spaghetti monster. I don't give a crap. As long as you don't try to press it onto me. But of course, again, people in this person in North Carolina is like, no, I do want to press it on you because I believe that I'm right and my rules should be your rules. Well, now anyway, number two, same-sex marriage can't go back to the states because it's not a states' rights issue. Civil rights are under the purview of the federal government because it is a civil rights issue, not the states. That's why it can't go back to the states. That's why we can't leave this decision to the states. States do have certain rights, but on civil rights, that is a federal issue. And same-sex marriage is a civil rights issue. If you're denying people the right to get married based on their sexual orientation, well, you're infringing on their civil rights. But anyway, now, the bill is ridiculous. It's DOA. It's not going to pass, likely. I mean, look, they elected a new governor over this whole thing, over the whole transgender bathroom blow-up. So you think they're actually going to try to go with this? No, of course not. Again, this is nothing more than red meat, and it's ridiculous. And even some of the commenters on this Facebook post agreed that it was ridiculous. One commenter told Pittman to, hey, man, you should just get over it. Now, let me read you his response, because this is where it gets crazy. Quote, and if Hitler had won, should the world just get over it? Lincoln was the same sort of tyrant, and personally responsible for the deaths of over 800,000 Americans in a war that was unnecessary and unconstitutional. What in the fuck? Wait. He literally called Abraham Lincoln, one of our presidents, a tyrant a lot like Hitler. Now, wait a minute. Now, Hitler killed millions and millions of people. And yes, Sean Spicer, he did use chemical weapons to do so. God, it's amazing how stupid people are. Look, Abraham Lincoln fought a civil war to preserve the Union against a bunch of rich Southern landowners who tried to break away from America, who did the most un-American thing, turned their back on America, all because they wanted the right to own people, to own other human beings. That's what slavery was about. No, Jeff. The whole war was about civil rights. It had, or states' rights. It had nothing at all to do with slavery. It was all about states' rights. Well, what right did they want to protect? Well, the right to own people. So it was about slavery. And if you think that wasn't a major factor in the Civil War, then you are ignorant of the history of this entire conflict. Now, to show you how they felt about black people and the institution of slavery, they literally wrote it into their new Constitution. Now, this is from the cornerstone speech made by the Vice President of the Confederate States of America. Quote, "Our new government is founded on exactly the opposite idea. Its foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery's subordination to the superior race is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world based on this great physical, philosophical, whatever, and moral truth. Philosophical and moral truth." The opposite idea that he alludes to was the idea of America in which everybody is equal, or everybody's supposed to be equal. These guys were like, no. We don't believe in that. We actually think it's a great idea to own people and to subjugate people. We like getting free labor, so screw your equality. No, we're going to make our country a place where we can grossly mistreat other human beings. Own them, whip them, murder them, and make lots and lots of money off it. Did I mention rape them? That also happened a lot. And get a whole bunch of money off of it. Now, if you believe in this ideology, then you're a disgusting human being. Fighting a war to keep the Union together is different than, is not the same as being a dictator that was essentially trying to conquer all of Western Europe and Russia and using chemical weapons to try to do so, to try to ethnically cleanse an entire group of people. If you can't tell the difference between that, then you're a horrible human being. This guy's disgusting. What a disgusting, grotesque human being this Mr. Pittman is. This Republican lawmaker. This guy needs to get dragged down in his ear. Not literally, but figuratively. See, we're not barbarians like they are and advocate violence against other people. No. People like this, their ideology needs to go. If you actually believe that Abraham Lincoln is the same kind of tyrant that Adolf Hitler is, you are grossly misinformed, and you might even be just an incredibly grossly racist, terrible person. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.